Hello, 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 hello. That sounds pretty darn good. Gotta check the audio balances. You know, gotta check the audio, gotta make sure everything's balanced. Just to keep track of things. I can. Look at that. Figuring out workflows. Look at us. Hi. Salutations, friends. My name is Suki. I'm a Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar. And, you know, it's been a minute. It's been a time. Things have been happening. Things are still happening. And things will continue to happen. But now we are set up to be able and be comfortable streaming again. So here we are. I want to talk about a book series. I read these books last year. I read them 2023. I read The Chase Begins, which is the first book in the series, a hot minute ago. And I beta read and then arc read the second book of the series. And I wanted to stream them together, and we'll get into why as we start talking on the review. But yeah, so I read these books, wanted to stream at least the first two of this series together. This is an indie fantasy series that I've been very much enjoying. I'm very much excited, and I love me a long series. I read an unreasonable number of books about tribes of cats. I like me a series. But yeah, so this is the Catastrophe Incoming series by Amy Donnellan, and the first book is The Chase Begins. So we start this book with our two main characters, Lark and Ren, who are a nice little pair of adventurers. Lark is a scholar that practices magic that they were granted by their god, the scholar. They are a seeker. They have seeker magic, which allows them to like discover and find things. I believe. I'm a little. It's been a little bit since I've like reread the actual explanation of Lark's magic, at least that aspect, because Lark has a lot of magic. They have the magic that they can like request and call on from their god, from the scholar, and then they also have magic that they got. They have two other forms of magic along with the seeker magic, the magic of like calling on the scholar. They have a dragon eye that they ripped their own eye out and replaced it with a dragon eye, and that allows them to see, I believe it's a green dragon's eye, and that allows them to see people's emotions. And then someone else granted them with magic for doing that, and I believe the magic that they had been granted for that was to be able to touch something and see kind of the lifespan of this inanimate object, where it's been, who's held it, stuff like that. Ren, super strong, super sweet, amazing, loving warrior, and we just love her. We love her. We find out at the beginning of the book, because what's going on in the book is there is a dragon war that's been going on, and so because of this, there are these magical wards over the city that we start in to protect the people from, you know, the dragons. And at the beginning of the book, they flip the wards, so that way, as opposed to fucking cops, as opposed to keeping dragons and other things from getting into the town, they've been flipped to keep things from getting out. And they're like, what on earth could be so bad that they are less concerned about the dragons? So we find out Lark's ex, Nightingale, is this extremely dangerous murderer, and she just broke out of prison. And yeah, so people are that concerned about her that they are risking letting the dragons come in to prevent her from getting out into the world. and she did something to also be granted magic by the same person that granted Lark the touch things, see its lifespan kind of magic. I believe hers was she can extract information from dead bodies. It's a time. And so she keeps killing people to get more bodies to get information from. It's great. And that's the gist of the chase begins. What we're chasing and what we're seeking out in this first book is Lark trying to figure out what Nightingale's plan is, figure out how they are going to stop her from getting out, because she is obviously this like great danger to the people around them. And so they want to, make sure she doesn't kill everybody. And so we're following them as they try to chase her around the town, stop her as much as they can, and then ultimately, I say kind of spoilers, but this is the reason why I felt like I really wanted to read this and review this with another book from the series, because at the end of spoilers, she gets out, but it feels like everything about this book makes it very clear. Like, obviously the chase is just beginning. The catastrophe is still incoming. Of course she's gonna get out. And so the book, while still a really great fun story, and it felt like, because I've reviewed a book, it was a while ago, it's not Patrick Mahomes, that's not the book. It was the one that had Benedict Cumberbatch on the cover. I forgot what it was called. I own it, but it's buried somewhere because I have no intention of reading again. I've read books before where it felt like the first book, in kind of a seeming to like make it a series, didn't even feel like a full story. And that is a problem I have with the series. Like, there was another book that I read as well. It had like a black inky like vibe to the cover that I read, and it was interesting, but I didn't even get a full story out of that one book, and so that really turns me off. It felt like I would have to read all of the books to get even one story out of it. While this book did feel like it was 100% like absolutely every like it's absolutely a lead into the rest of the series, it did still feel like its own story, because of like you have Lark struggling with the emotions they're going through, and that doesn't stop, but we do also change perspectives so in the series, so we do get a little less of it, but you get a lot of emotional struggle from Lark. You also have this other character, this guard character, who is fighting against Lark because both of them want the same thing, but the guard doesn't trust Lark, mostly because they think Lark's emotions are going to get in the way. And so I feel like you do get a full story, but it leaves you wanting more because it is just a taste of what the series is going to be. But I still it doesn't turn me off. It very much draws me in, and I still feel like I got something, because even with those other books, it feels like I didn't get any character payoff. I didn't really get much, like, I feel like those books just left so much left to be desired. This didn't leave anything to be desired, but it does make me want to read everything else the author has ever written, and I technically have, I believe. No, there's some side stories that I have for this series that I can still read. But so we have this, and throughout, like I said earlier, you have this guard who is like getting in the way, because they're like, I don't know, if you find her, are you gonna stop her? And they're like, we won't know if you won't let me get there. So that's a major issue we have throughout the book. We're trying to figure out who helped Nightingale get out of prison, and it's a fun time. But if you pick up the series, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting both the first and the second book together. I believe let me, I don't have things anymore. Because I don't want to. Interesting. I don't want to just throw this out here without some sourcing, because I do believe there has been some changes to pricing of this book. At least the ebook. Seems only be available on Kindle as an ebook, because it's on Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, it does seem like the book is perma-free. Not perma-free, perma-sale. Not free. It's 99 cents, though, for book 1. And book 2 is let me guess, $1.09? Book 2 is $3.98. $2.99. Book 2 is $2.99. Book 1's $1.99. Both are on Kindle Unlimited. And so I would recommend, if you have Kindle Unlimited, I would, like, being real honest, Kindle Unlimited is terrible to authors. I would recommend buying both books. But if you're checking out the books, check out both books, both book 1 and 2, to get a full gist of what the series seems like it's going to be. Because, oh my god, book 2 is amazing. But let me go over some of the, because another thing about this book, the writing, this author's writing is so good. It is fantastic. Here is a line where Lark, our main character, they're ace, and here is the way the author describes describes like the first time this character has any sexual feelings. It's so here's the scene. Lark had thought for a long time that it was not something they would ever experience, being over 20 years in when many got such feelings in their teens. The logic simply pointed that way. Until one day, years into the friendship with Nightingale, there had been a moment where Lark had glanced over it and been caught by the line of her neck where it met her collarbone and wondered what it would taste like. Like, oh my god. I did a lap. My notes. If you look at my notes, my literal note on that line is just, oh shit. Like, oh my god. The writing of the series is amazing. And if my notes would finish loading in. Did you do that? Let me see if I can find. It's also really funny. Lark's a great character. Lark is my favorite type of character in that they're just a jackass, and I love it. I love it so much. I love a jackass. For some reason, my notes app is failing to load in. I mean, I guess I did just download the notes. But yeah, they're jackass, and that's just my type. That's my type. It always has been. Sorry, I'm looking for phenomenal writing. There's so many examples of phenomenal writing. I want to look up one of the funny lines. Because I definitely highlight several lines. Here's one. And then we are going back to putting my notes on my Patreon. I am going back through the ones that I didn't put on, and I'm like organizing those notes. I'm going to put I've been working on my blog again a little bit. Poquito. Link is down below if you read with caution. But I'm probably going to work out some feelings there before coming onto here or on my vlog channel and doing just like a talk about how I felt about my reading year and stuff like that. Here's a good line. Here's a good funny line. Ooh, you didn't hear that? You didn't hear that? You didn't hear that copywritten notification sound? No, never. But here's the second line here. Ren stretches her long body with a yawn so outrageous it is almost an operatic aria if the alto were stupendously drunk. Like, the writing of this book is so nice. Okay, I'll read one more quote before we move on to talking about the second book in the series, The Chase Begins. This one right up here. It is a special kind of cruelty to come to terms with perhaps needing to let Nightingale go while still having to chase her, while feeling the very magical core of themselves pour toward her in the most guttural way. Like, the writing of this book is amazing. The writing of these books is phenomenal. The writing of this book is everything for me. And so I'm so excited to just keep reading these books. I have loved every single one I've read. Next up is The Collection Awakens. This is book number 2. So in this book, we meet a new main character, Reverie, who is she is a performer who has been given the burden of following the family legacy at being a warrior, an adventurer, etc. And she stumbles into this collection of magical items, searching for a family sword. And then Reverie, Ren and Lark show up there too. And here's how it goes. Reverie, Ren, Lark, a woman named Bella, and a totally not just some guy, Ernest. Like, literally the book spends all the time telling me it's just some dude. I don't believe it. I don't trust it. Ernest and the collection's owner, Grenna, are our main characters. Something traps them all inside of the collection and starts tapping into their mind, using like their deepest pains, deepest traumas to attack them one by one. And so now they're stuck in here and they have to figure out how to get out without dying. And, you know, that's important. This book is a Whovian's dream. If you like Doctor Who, this is phenomenal. This is perfect. Reverie and Lark are like David Tennant and River Song. And it's amazing. It's phenomenal. I adore it. The adventure that they have is fun. It's dynamic. You feel it because there's a projection that is like showing, and it is there's a projection that is showing these people that are important to our captives, our friends that are stuck in the collection, and you can feel what it's like to be stuck in this room while people's most like deeply held struggles are being revealed in front of an audience, and you can feel how the room changes when everyone's so uncomfortable being there for such intimate, private moments. And it's so good. And like, I screamed because, like I said before, I beta read this book. So before the book was ready to publish, I read it and I gave the author notes, and I screamed about this in the notes there, and I screamed about this to her. You can just feel how every instance, like every interaction of the characters in this book is setting up for long-term character arcs that are going to be amazing journey in this series. For one, you have Reverie, who is a performer, and he's using her performance skills and her acting skills to hide her emotions, paired with Lark, who has a dragon eye that can help them see people's emotions, and you can see how that's going to lead to a lot of vulnerability between the two of these characters, and I'm so excited to see this author deliver. It's genuinely everything I ever wanted from this series. It's fun. It's so good. Read the books. Please read these books. Please read these books. I'm so excited. Like I said, we meet this new character of Reverie. She has different type of magic than, because she's a performer, but she uses her skills and performance to as kind of a vehicle to understand her magic. And the difference between her magic is that she is a disciplined magician, which is very strong, but often takes a lot longer than the type of magic that Lark has. She is of a high-class family, and we can't forget this and. She has this dick-ass goose named Ferdinand. Like, this goose is my favorite thing. She has this goose named Ferdinand, who is actually an immortal goose that is, in reality, the trapped being of an evil sorcerer. And this goose is such a fucking asshole. When I tell you, I can't stand this goose. When I tell you, I was reading this book, looking up, you know what? Just make foie gras. At this point, butcher him. We're eating good tonight. I couldn't stand this damn goose. He's out here causing problems. He's out here knocking magical shit around, causing magical catastrophes. Couldn't stand him. But he is like magically tied to Reverie's family. He has to like exist with them, and he's magically inclined to protect her, but he also can just be an asshole whenever he wants. And it's a great character, but also I can't stand that fucking goose. Yeah, and like I said earlier, just the way the book is written, you can feel the trust building that's going to go on with all of these characters, all these main characters, because Reverie joins Lark and Ren for presumably the rest of their adventure. I've beta read book 3, but even that's still like just the tip of the iceberg. So I hope she's there the whole time, but she does join the group for as far as we know, and truly, quite truly, like 100, like if we're being so incredibly honest with ourselves, I need a throuple, just all 3 of them together, because like they're just so sweet together. I love all of them, and I need just a nice happy little throuple. It'll be phenomenal, perfect, fantastic. And the last thing before we start going into a little bit of some of the quotes, some amazing writing in this book. Like I said, there's a character that the book does its best to convince you that his name is Ernest, and I'll never trust him. Not like I don't trust this guy. He's just like some run-of-the-mill guy. Here's what I think. Here's my theory. So there's him, and there's this other like priest dude. Cavil is what's coming to mind, but I really don't think that's what his name is from the first book. What was his name? Cillian. I was so incredibly wrong. I think Ernest and I think Cillian are part of I think they're gonna show back up as the big bads. maybe I'm jumping every shark known to man on this one, but something about the way the book tries to convince me this man has nothing to do with it. I don't trust him. I don't trust it, not one bit, not an inkling. And part of what they are using to travel is called a wayfinder. And Lark is able to be like, hey, take me to Nightingale. And it won't take them directly to Nightingale, possibly, but it will take them all to, like, them. I think it's them and whoever's, like, I don't know if they need to be touching or if they need, it's just the vicinity with the vibe of going with them. I don't know. But it takes their party to something that the Wayfinder feels is relevant to her. And I think, so, like, there's a villain of this book. I don't think it's the villain. I don't think it's that one. I think Ernest is in some way connected with Nightingale. Now, like, this might be the Charlie Day putting lines and papers on the board. This might be it, but I'm Cillian and Ernest. I think they're gonna come back, and I think they're gonna be villains. I think we're gonna find out that they were actually a part of the, like, major overall group. You can quote me on that. You can laugh at me if I'm wrong, but you can quote me on that because we're gonna see. We're gonna find out. I don't trust it. It gets at every part of me. Why would you tell me 8 times that he's harmless? That doesn't, like, why is this man only on screen to tell me how harmless he is? It doesn't make sense. Does it make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. I feel like something's going on. I'm suspicious. And so we are going to continue reading the series to see what happens with those two. But like I said, this book, amazing plot, amazing story, amazing characters, amazing character development, all ready for book 2 of this series. This book is amazing. I, again, have the writing of this book is, once again, amazing. Like, this is, because this book is from Revery's point of view. And this chunk of text, oh my god, can I move this so you can see this, like, massive chunk of text here, is how she first perceives Lark and Wren, and it's so good. It is at that moment that the front door bursts open. 2 people run in, drenched as Reverie had been. One is a tall redhead in full armor, and the other looks like a university professor who got distracted halfway through getting dressed. The latter also sports a bright green, draconic eye that twitches as it surveys the room with its mundane counterpart. Has anyone been murdered around here in the last hour? The one with the draconic eye, after asking this alarming question, pauses and scratches their chin. And, where exactly is here? I think that's, like, the end of chapter 1. And it's so good. I adore the writing here. And then here's a great example of just kind of the jackassery that is Lark right around here. We've got Lark says, things don't appear from nowhere, not ever. If you travel by and someone else responds, if you travel by a teleporting wayfinder, wouldn't you literally appear from nowhere once a day? Reverie asks them. No, we are simply arriving from somewhere else in an unconventional fashion. And what a dick. What a twat. I love it. And then here, oh my god, I'm gonna get distracted reading quotes from this book. It's so good. But here's a great, this book is definitely like this feels like a Doctor Who line. Reverie says, anytime is my idea of a good time to start a verbal sparring match. Besides, the fire isn't even spreading. Isn't even. Lark stops and glances at the fire, then at Reverie, then back at the fire, then back to Reverie. How bizarre. It should be. That's wood. Like, this is, I adore this series. I really do. I truly and, like, wholeheartedly love this book so much. So much. Expect this book to show up on my favorite reads of the year. because it was so good. Oh my god, let me find. Here's one of the fucking lines. Here's one of Ernest's lines that make me so suspicious. It's like, all right, so what are we doing? Ernest asks. You all seem plenty powerful and capable. That's great for you, but I'm just some guy. I'm just a guy here looking for a luck, and I really didn't sign up for this. What if this thing thinks I'm an easy pickings? Why is it that every single time you have to open your mouth, it's just to tell us that you're weak and you're useless and you can't do nothing? Suspicion. Suspicions are peaked. Suspicions are peaked here. Oh my god. Let me find. There's just so. Here's another like great line. This is after, I believe this is after Ren has her time getting her mind fucked over by the projection villain thing. I know what it is. I just don't know a good way to explain it that doesn't spoil it. But so the projection thing fucks with her head, and afterwards we have this line. Rin remarks she has made her way to her feet, but no attempts at drying her eyes can hide the red of the skin. Like, this is great. This is great lines. This is phenomenal writing. I am obsessed. But yeah, I truly cannot. Oh, here's another very Whovian line. I don't know. This is another Doctor Who reference. If anyone's seen the episode, or if like specifically thinking of the episode of Doctor Who, Amy, it's during the Matt Smith seasons. Amy gets kidnapped, and Centurion Rory and Matt Smith's doctor are going around demanding answers. They're like, where the fuck is she? Tell me now. And there's one episode that starts off with Centurion Rory on a ship, and he's like, tell me where she is. Give me all the information you have or else. And the person's like, you're what army? And then we just look out the window, and the doctor's blown up this entire army's fleet. And then Roy turns back to the person and is like, do you need me to repeat the question? It's like, that's unnecessarily badass. That line, think that badassery, think that vibe. And that is exactly what I get from this scene here, in which someone has thrown a knife at Reverie. And Lark responds, now I am lacking information about you that would help me make sense of this, they say, with a quiet edge. So instead I will tell you something about me. I don't respond well to threats or violence, and you've just put a knife in the only person who seems to understand exactly what is happening. So I'm going to give her just enough magic to stop her organs poisoning the rest of her, in exchange for us not seeing if my god can paralyze your mind and body faster than you can move that blade. Read the books. Read the series. That's all I have to say. That's all I have. That's all there is to say. When you, I love these characters. I need more of that Lark too. We love the dorky. We love the goofy. We love the I can't remember if it's canon that Lark is autistic, but we love the autistic character. We also love the okay, let's be clear. I will fuck you up from here to next week if you make me. My heart. But yeah, like I said, read these books, read this series. I truly cannot recommend it enough. I cannot. They're just so good. I'm obsessed. I'm genuinely obsessed with the series, and I can't wait to get the final version of book 3. I can't wait for the book that's coming after that, because that seems super exciting. I'm so excited. It's so good. I love it. But that is all that I had to do for this book. We have several more streams coming up before we even get into anything I've read this year, which is fine because I haven't read anything this year. I'm still because of all of the things and then some, I haven't actually finished reading El Príncipe del Sol, and so I'm still in the middle of that book. We'll get there eventually. So we'll be reading that. I have other streams that I need to do. I have Hijinks and Honeydews. I was originally not going to stream it, but as I was, like, it took me, I still have not written a review for it because I just, every time I go to sit down to write a review, I have so much to say, and it's criticism on, like, a specific part of it, and so I feel like I might as well just stream too then. So we're gonna do a Hijinks and Honeydew stream. We've got best books. We've got the quarter streaming on my quarter 4 review. We've got the best books of the year. We've got the looking at my 5-star book draft, which who knows what that looks like right now. And that should be, so that's 4 streams we need to catch up on, but we should be fine. I'm hoping to get 2 of them done next week, so that would be Hijinks and Honeydews, and then the quarter 4, and still trying to figure out the list of the best books and how I want to do that. I was originally, I was considering for a while doing, some form of, what are they called? Like in schools where they have, most likely to succeed, those kind of things. I forgot what they're called. I was considering doing something like that, but I feel like I might do not necessarily a tier list, because I might have just a clump of them that are all I feel about the same amount for. So I might do some form of grouping, and then read the descriptions, describe the books, describe what I like about them and why I made whatever grouping, something like that. We'll see. And 5-star book draft. Yeah, that's gonna be a rough one. And then, yeah, I haven't written up how I feel about my reading for the year thing yet. Once I write that up, I'll see then at that point if I feel like that should be a full stream, or if I can just throw that as voiceover over a vlog or something like that. Either way, it'll probably be up on my blog, noordinaryscholar.com first. Again, read with caution over there. I believe that is all for me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, valedictions, friends.